of our country, the vineyards of Italy. And to start this last tasting of the day, we want to introduce you to one of our most famous wine in the world, because we are talking about the Prosecco area. Prosecco is one of the most sold wine, Italian wine in the world, and it's the wine representative for the special occasion, for the party, or for the celebration. And Prosecco have a big denomination, it's a big area that can produce this kind of wine. The winery that we are going to meet today, Staffilo Winery, is in the territory near the city of Venice. So here the climate is really conditioned by the presence of the sea near the winery. We are in a flat area, but the breeze of the sea helps the vineyard to dry the humidity. When there is too much humidity, the sea of the breeze became so important to have healthy grapes. And about Staffilo, this is an ancient winery that now is in the third generations of winemaker, and they always produce Prosecco. They are inside this denomination from when they start to produce wine, and today they are looking for the healthiness of the vineyard and of the grape, of course. And when we talk about Prosecco, we need to meet the most important grape of this wine, not the only one, but the base of Prosecco, a grape called Glera. We used to call this grape Prosecco until 2009, when something changed. The grape changed the name. Why? Because the law say to us that you can call a wine with the name of the grape that you used to produce it everywhere you are. So if you produce a Chardonnay, for example, in Italy or in California or in Australia or in Chile, you can call that wine Chardonnay. So if you produce a wine with a grape called Prosecco, everyone in the world can produce a wine called Prosecco. So to help the producer of the Prosecco area to save the brand Prosecco and to connect the brand Prosecco to Italy, they decided to change the name of the grape and take the ancient name of this grape, that it was Glera. There is a problem, because now everywhere you are in the world, you can plant Glera grape and produce a wine called Glera. Why we can call it Prosecco? Because there is a city, a small city in the border between Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia, called Prosecco. This city is inside the big denomination of Prosecco, so we have a geographic name that allows us to call this name Prosecco. And from 2009, Prosecco, it's a brand, an Italian brand. The only Prosecco that we can produce all over the world comes from Italy. That's the reason why we need to change the name. It's kind of similar of the history of Tokai and Friulano, who know something about it, changing the name but having a geographical connection with a place. And when we talk about Glera, we talk about a grape that has that can produce a lot. And to have a good product, you have to be really strict with Glera to have a good Prosecco and not allow the plant to produce too much grape. We are talking about a semi-aromatic variety, so we need to expect an explosion of perfume inside the glass. Prosecco is an easy wine, the wine that everyone loves, a wine that allows you to start a dinner with some sparkling emotion. And the wine that we are going to test comes from the DOC, the big DOC Prosecco. The winery is Staffilo, and this is the dry, extra dry method. Extra dry means that there is a hint of sugar inside wine, and if you take your glass, you can perfectly see the color of Glera. This is the typical color of Glera, this yellow-green color inside the glass with this small bubble and this foam, this spuma, all over the glass. Push your nose inside. On the nose, the semi-aromatic sensation of the Glera explode, the pear, the peach, the apple, and then the sausage, and a sensation, a bitter sensation of chamomile and an idea of flower. It's an easy nose, but a beautiful easy nose, very elegant, and that invite us to have a sip. So have a sip. This hint of sugar in our mouth create not a sweet sensation, but a smooth sensation that is kind of different. Because to balance this sweet sensation, we have two elements: the CO2, of course, the bubbles, and the acidity that Glera brings with it. The end is not so long, but it's not a problem. It's a wine that you have a sip, and then another, and then another, and then another, just to finish the glass. And to pair a wine like this, we can imagine some salty but easy plates. I was thinking about mac and cheese. Maybe in Dallas they used to eat more mac and cheese than us. Or a shrimps cocktail, why not? Or just for an aperitif with some fresh cheeses. It's an easy wine to pair, and it's a beautiful wine to start a dinner, of course. And moving to the second territory that we are going to discover, we make a long trip from the north to the south of Italy, because we are going in Campania, where Naples is. And when we think about Campania, the first image that we have in our eyes is the sea, the coast, the summer, but actually here we are in another part of Campania, the other face of Campania, because we are in the inside part of the land. And here there's no sea, there's no summer. This is a mountain place. It's a cold place where the grapes enjoy a special soil. This is a very complicated geological area, because we are in a volcanic area. It means that the different ages, geological ages, are mixed all together. And here the volcanic soil is the most important. But for example, in the area of Greco di Tufo, that is the wine that we are going to test, the tufo, the tuff, it's the main character of the soil, and the tuff gives to the Greco this special minerality that this grape has just in this area. But to telling you something about the Historia Antiqua, the winery that we are going to test, we have one of the producer here, if you want to join me, that can tell us something more about the long history of your winery. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay. Good evening. My name is Marguerite. I'm the owner of Historia Antiqua. We started making wine 50 years ago. First we made at home for ourselves, and then the grapes, the vineyards created, made more grapes, and we had to have a customer. We had to do it for business, let's say. We are a family conduction firm with me, my husband, and my 2 children. Everything, we all made the Greco di Tufo, the Fiano, the Aianico, the Irpinia Falanghina, Coda di Volpe. With the Aianico, we make the Taurasi, the DOCG, the only DOCG from the Campania. It's the 3rd DOCG. It's compared to the Barolo, let's say, because it's very, very strong. It has 3 years in oak and 2 years in steel. So it's before 3 or 4 years, we can bottle it. Then we have the reserve, it's 4 years, but we have another year before because we have a more year. Best it stays in the oak, it has all the tannics go away. So I hope you enjoy my Greco di Tufo, and thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here to help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. So we are in this special place where not just Greco, but Fiano too and Aglianico enjoy this special cold climate and this incredible soil. And about Greco, this is a strange grape. A lot of enologists define the Greco grape, the red, dressed like a wine, because in the vineyard and in the cellar too, he acts like a red grape. So we obtain strong, deep wine, and the minerality of the soil, it's the first sound that Greco makes when you smell this kind of wine. So what we are going to test, it's 100% Greco di Tufo. Greco, it's a common name for different grapes in Italy. Greco comes from Greek, so all the grapes that have this sound come from the ancient Greek. The Greek bring that to Italy. In this case, Tufo is the name of the city, so is the Greco strictly connected with this area. And the vinification, it's a white vinification in still, and it's aged in still for 3 months to rest after the fermentation, of course. And in the glass, you can see this hint of gold, this idea of warm yellow. And the nose brings back the tough sensation. So the minerality is the main character of this nose. Then arrive an idea of vegetal part, some flowers, a hint of wisteria, and iris too. Then there is this balsamic sensation that closes the nose, but the minerality leads all the nose. Have a sip. The red dressed like a white, and when we taste it, we can understand wine. Why? Because it's a bold wine, has a lot of structure, as it's a concentrate wine. And two elements characterize the sip: the saltiness and the acidity that works together from the first moment to the last moment that when the wine. How to pair a wine like this? Yes, of course, when we think about white wine, we always think about fish, yes. But this is not exactly a wine that we can use on fish. The wine eats the fish, not us, because it's so strong that we'll totally cover delicate place. So here you wanna eat some fish? Okay, go with a crabs, for example, with an important fish. Or it's perfect to pair this wine with some white meat. For example, a roast pork, but white meat in general, it's a perfect mix with a wine so strong and with this potential of explosion in our mouth. Thank you very much to bring this wine and to share this tasting with us. It's a pleasure to meet you. We move again, our travel go on, and we come back in the north of Italy, discovering a really interesting territory, because we are in Lombardia. We are near the flat area of Lombardia, where the climate is a continental and is very warm, and the summer is very hot with a lot of humidity. But here everything changed, because there is a special element, the water. In this case, represented by the lake, the Garda Lake, the biggest lake that we have in Italy. And around the Garda Lake, something special happened. If you imagine that in the flat area of Pianura Padana, there's there's no olive trees, there's no orange trees. Around the Garda Lake, you can produce olive oil, you are allowed to eat some good orange too. So the grape have different phase from here to 10, 15, 14 kilometers from here, because everything changes in an area like this. And the winery that we are going to meet is Perla del Garda, the pearl of the lake, the pearl of Garda. And we have the connection with the winery that can tell us their story and their project for the future. Am I right? We have it? Dovremmo. Okay, while we wait the winery, just a few words about Turbiana, that is the main character of the Lugana. Eccola! Hi! Ciao! We see you, but we can't hear you. I love the pics on the fridge. No. I think we have some problem with connection. Maybe. Okay, while you fix it, we were talking about Turbiana grape, and for a long period we thought that Turbiana was part of the family of the big family of Trebbiano. Trebbiano is a very big family, and Trebbiano is the most cultivated white grape that we have in Italy. But the fact is that analyzing the DNA of Turbiana in the last years, we discovered that it has nothing in common with Trebbiano, but is kind of similar to Verdicchio. Verdicchio is the typical grape of Marche, the area of Castelli di Jesi and Matelica, and with Verdicchio in the Marche area they produce Brit sparkling wine and dry white wine, easy white wine, aged white wine, and with Turbiana we can do pretty the same. Turbiana is a beautiful interpreter of this of the territory of the Garda Lake, because it has the capacity to bring the lake sensation, so the minerality that the lakes gives, but with this good balance with the smoothness. So we used to have very balanced wine, and we have the connection. We don't. I go on by myself. Okay. And Perla del Garda starts to produce wine 20 years ago, and but the fact is that they works in the wine business from a long time, from several generations, and they start to produce organic grape from 2013, and the 2016 was the first vintage that they produce with certificate organic wine. The cellar is in the middle of the vineyard, so there is this big corp of vineyard, and perfectly in the middle you can find the cellar. This idea is to bring the grape in a short time from the harvest to the production, and don't spend time with this grape traveling too much around the territory. And the wine that we are going to test is 100% Turbiana. This is the Madonna della Scoperta. It's one of the new wine that this winery started to produce. The fermentation and the aging both in still. There is this idea that the Turbiana lives very good inside the still because the oak risks to kill the elegant sensation that this grape can bring inside the glass. And looking at the wine, you can see a beautiful shyness. This is a pale yellow with this hint of green, but the lights reflect this beautiful color. On the nose, it's very different from the wine that we tasted last year. I'm surprised. On the nose, it's a beautiful explosion. The two elements that arrive first to the nose is the fruit and the floral part. This fruit that remember us this ripe peach, a white fruit. Some citrus sensation, the idea of the lemon skin. Then this flower sensation, this small white flower. And here that the minerality arrives. Really different from the minerality that we found in Greco di Tufo. It's not so white and rocky like the Greco di Tufo minerality. Here is more smooth, that remember as a stone, a soft stone. And it closes with some herbs, some rosemary, some thyme too. Have a sip. I think that this is a didactic example of what Lugana means. Here you can find all the elements from the territory and from the grape too. It's a beautiful example of balance. The first things that happen in our mouth is the glycerin. The first perception is the glycerin on the palate. But then the freshness arrives and perfectly clean this glycerin sensation, giving us the opportunity to experiment what balance means. The end of the wine is very long, and come back the floral and the fruity sensation. And this is a beautiful wine to put on a table because it's an eclectic wine. You can use in different kind of preparation. You can use it on a first course, risotto, for example, risotto and asparagi, why not, with asparagus, or you can use it with a fish, maybe an oven fish, so a big fish, or why not, you can use it with the veal, so with meat, but with white meat. You can use it all over the dinner. You can imagine to do a dinner drinking just this wine. And this is the superiore version. When we talk about superiore on the label in Italy, it means that the wine have more alcohol than the basic version. And we are not interested about the alcohol, but what interested us, that it means that the grape was really, really ripe when they pick it, and they bring more sugar to produce more alcohol, of course. And nothing for the connection. Can we go on? Let's see if she come back. If she come back later. Okay, we're going on, and we move to a region known more for the red wine than for the white, because we are talking about Tuscany. When we think about Tuscany, we immediately think to big, bold, strong red wine. But we have some white pearls hidden in this territory. And the most important denomination about white wine in Tuscany is, of course, Vernaccia di San Gimignano. We are in the center of the region, near the city of Siena, on the hills, on the San Gimignano hills. And here the soil lets the magic happen, because the soil here, it's a marine soil, comes from the sea, and there is this beautiful sand, and the sand that you can find in the vineyard is a yellow sand, and leaves this kind of smoothness inside of wine, this kind of balance inside of wine. And the winery is Cesani Winery, an old history that represents this winery, because they start to produce wine in 1949 and is a rum business winery. Every generation, the generation change, but the wine rests the same. New technology are added inside the cellar, of course. 26 hectares of vineyard totally dedicated not just to Vernaccia, not just to white wines, but they produce a Sangiovese. And in the pics, in the last pics, you can perfectly see what the meaning of marine soil, because you really find the sea on the earth, and it's an experience when you walk in a vineyard really far from the sea, but you find the sea under your feet, and you can imagine how wine can change in a soil like this. And the grape that represents this territory is Vernaccia, Vernaccia di San Gimignano. In Italy, we have different kind of Vernaccia. We test two Vernaccia today, because we have a red version too, not from Tuscany, but from another territory, no spoiler. And we have our third Vernaccia in Sardinia, and Vernaccia comes from the word vernaculus. It means the wine of the house, the wine of the people, and the most important denomination of Vernaccia Bianca is San Gimignano, of course, and it depends. Vernaccia change a lot depending how you work in the vineyard. You can produce easy white wine, or you can produce white wine that you can imagine to be aged for a long time. And here we have a Vernaccia, 100%, 100% Vernaccia di San Gimignano. Everything happened inside the still. Vernaccia is not very happy when you put it on the oak. It leaves his freshness, so we need the still to express herself in a better way. And the colors is this beautiful, delicate yellow inside the glass. And the marine soil, it's the first thing that we can perceive on the nose. The sea breeze sensation. It smells like an oyster. There is the idea of the salty water inside the oyster. Then this Mediterranean sensation that remember as the balsamic part of the herbs of the Mediterranean, the mint. And a beautiful yellow flower sensation. Let's try it. Okay, in the mouth, come back this sea sensation. The saltiness is the main character of this mouth, of this sip. Then arrived a freshness, a beautiful freshness that remember us like a lime sensation, agrumi, but with an idea of sweet lemon. Then it closes with this hint of almond, that it's something typical about Vernaccia. The typical Vernaccia closes with this idea of fresh almond, of white almond. And this is another wine that you can enjoy on the table. For example, I think it's a perfect wine to pair with sushi and sashimi, because as the structure, but as the freshness, and as the balance, as the saltiness. So with for example, sushi, salmon sushi, you have the fat part of the fish, and here you have the freshness that play with this. You have the idea of sweetness in the plate, and you have the saltiness part on the sip that clean perfectly the mouth. You have the structure of the food, and you have the structure of the wine. Or, why not, you can use it on a baked fish, on a beautiful barbecue just with fish. A beautiful white wine, I think, that remember us that Tuscany is not a red region, but we can find some beautiful white in this region too. And with a jump, we move to Campania. We come back to Campania, another area of Campania. We were in the area of Avellino, Irpinia, with Greco di Tufo, and now we are going to the border with Lazio region, in the north part of the region. The DOC, it's Galluccio, not so knowed. It's strange because it's another special place to meet. Galluccio is an area with pure volcanic soil. If you visit this area, it's very beautiful, because if you see the soil, you can perfectly see the difference between the different explosion of the volcanics. All the volcanics here are dead, so you can find just the memories of this explosion inside the soil and inside the glass, of course. And the winery that we are going to meet is called Villa Sorbo, and start their business in 2013. But the fact is that it's something that used to happen in Italy. This is a family of wine grower, but in the ancient time, we used to produce wine just for ourselves, for our house, for our parents, for our neighbor. And we didn't sell it. A lot of wineries that start the official business, like in 2000, 2010, 2020, actually they start to produce wine 15 years before. Then they found the official winery. And in this case, they start to produce, the winery was founded in 2013, but they produced wine from a lot of generations. 20 hectares, and not only wine, but olive trees too. So this winery produce olive oil and wine, and they produce too. They have a big space around the winery where they have the organic farm. So when you meet them, you can buy not just wine but olive oil too. And here, maybe the most important grape of Campania, Aglianico. Aglianico, it's just another strange grape, because Aglianico, it's a bold red wine, but it changes a lot depending on the territory. And Aglianico loves the volcanic soil. That's the reason why it gives a beautiful result on the Taurasi area in Irpinia, volcanic soil, in Galluccio area, volcanic soil, in Basilicata, volcanic soil. So he chooses this kind of soil to give his best. And when we work with Aglianico, we work with a fighter, because Aglianico brings in the glass a lot of tannins, a lot of acidity. It's a dark grape in every sense, and it's not easy to work with a grape like this that try to be the chief of the winery. And Aglianico loves wood. He needs some wood, because the wood allowed Aglianico to slow down, and it results a little bit more smooth. But this is a grape that needs a lot of year to express itself in the best manner. But in this case, this winery, Villa Sorbo, chose to show us another version of Aglianico, more easy, more drinkable, more light, because we are testing their rosé Aglianico. Aglianico has a lot of anthocyanins on the skin, and this allowed to produce beautiful red rosé wine. And here the maceration on skin, it's really delicate, so you can see this color that is just an idea of pink in the glass. But the perfume of the wine remember us how Aglianico can be strong, because the color is so delicate, but the nose is totally different. Here, the fruity part is the first things that we met inside the glass. This cherry, red fruit, blueberry, and strawberry too. And that's this minerality that remember us that we are in a volcanic territory. An idea of watermelon too. Some wild roses, pomegranate. It's a beautiful mix. Have a sip. And here, the main character of the sip is the acidity, of course. But when we work with Aglianico, is what we want from this grape, is what we expect from this grape. Then this fruity part come back, slowing down the acidity sensation. It's a dry wine, but with this smoothness of fruit that arrives just in the end of the sip. So the sip has two different phases. The first phase is when the wine arrives, that the freshness arrive in our mouth. Then the second part of the sip is more smooth, is more fruity, and the end, it's a perfect mix between these two parts of the sip. And this is a beautiful wine to pair, for example, with a cold cut splat. Why not? Or maybe with just an aperitif with something small to eat. But it's a wine that you can enjoy maybe just with a beautiful sandwich with prosciutto, or a beautiful sandwich with mortadella. Why not? You have this beautiful acidity, and we have to use it when we pair a wine like this. A beautiful territory that we have to discover more than what we do. And jumping to another territory, we come back on the north and we arrive in Piedmont, maybe one of the regions that makes Italy famous all over the world for the wine that we produce in this area. And here the Produttori di Govone show us a beautiful version of Barbera d'Alba. We are in the north part of Langhe territory. The last wine that we are going to drink comes from Langhe too, but from another part of this territory. And here the soil, it's a beautiful mix, clayey, calcareous and sandy soil. So every vineyard has its own characteristic, and Barbera can change its face depending on the vineyard where it comes from. And Produttori di Govone, it's a winery founded in 1957. We are in Alba. Alba is not famous just for wine, but of course for the white truffle. And maybe the treasure of Alba is the white truffle. And they used to say that the ear good for the truffle are bad for the wine, and the ears that are good for the wines are bad for the truffle. Let's see in this year what will happen, of course. And they have some some vineyard not just in the Alba area, but in the Roero area and Asti area too. So they have like a beautiful perspective of all the south of Piedmont. 2019 hectares, so it's a big vineyard, but the fact is that these 2019 hectares are divided in different plots with different characteristics, and we are going to meet I think one of the most important grapes that we have in Italy, Barbera. Barbera, it's a grape that can stay like everywhere. We can find Barbera from the north to the Puglia, for example, to the south, and it's really interesting this capacity to adapt itself in different situations. And the same thing, the same kind of adaptability, Barbera can demonstrate as adaptability in the cellar too. Because we used to drink Barbera in an easy version. We imagine Barbera traditionally in an easy version. Barbera frizzante, Barbera sparkling Barbera, sweet Barbera, why not? Not because Barbera is just able to give us this wine, but because the fact that she can stay everywhere brings the producer to choose for the Barbera the worst plots. Because when you have another grape like Nebbiolo in your vineyard, you have to leave the best plot for Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo, it's a complicated grape. We were going to meet Nebbiolo after. Nebbiolo needs a lot of lights, the perfect situation of humidity, the perfect exposition, the perfect part of the hill. Barbera just say, okay, I do my job, what I have to do, where I have to stay, in the north part, in the south part, no problem, I bring you the result. And this closed the Barbera in our worst vineyard, actually. But in the 19, a bunch of producers from Piedmont start to think in another way, and they start to think, what happened if I put my Barbera in the best part of the vineyard, when I usually put Nebbiolo? And they discover another grape. So we discovered that with Barbera we can produce easy, red, sparkling, frizzante wine, but we can produce beautiful, bold, structured red wine, aged in oak, why not? And the version that we have today, it's in the middle, because it's fermented just in the still, and it's aged just in the still. There's no oak in this bottle. And this is a beautiful way to exalt the varietal sensation that Barbera can give us. Barbera hasn't a lot of tannins, but for me, it's a female Barbera. She has a lot of acidity, and this is the beautiful color that Barbera brings in our glass. This red, this sparkling red, without bubbles, of course. On the nose, it's a bunch of small red fruit, some sensation of plum, the fig, and then this beautiful earthy sensation. This earthy sensation, this sensation of humid earth, of dry leaf, it's a stretch in common from a lot of wines that come from Piedmont. It's something really connected to the territory. And there's this idea of oak without oak, some coffee, licorice, a lot of licorice. The radish, the roots of licorice, but the caramel too. Have a sip. It's a gentle explosion. The tannins are really delicate, arrive and disappear in just one moment. But the acidity rests in our mouth. It seems to chew a small berry, a small red berry. The sensation of acidity is the sensation connected to the acidity of the fruit. And in the end, this earthy sensation come back, giving us this complete idea of what Barbera means. And I think this wine is perfect, for example, for a big juicy cheeseburger, or with a BBQ ribs, with a pork belly, something really fat, because we have a lot of acidity that can perfectly clean our mouth. So a version of Barbera that we can use in different situations, of course. And then we come back to another Vernaccia, another version of Vernaccia. We start with a Vernaccia di San Gimignano, the white version, arriving now to the Vernaccia di Serra Petrona, the red version of Vernaccia. And we are in a small, beautiful territory in the Marche region. Serra Petrona, it's a really small area. There are not a lot of producers here. And we used to imagine the Vernaccia di Serra Petrona as a sparkling sweet wine. But fortunately, Terre di Serra Petrona have another idea of this grape, trying to give us another version of this grape. We have here the one representative of the winery that can talk about the winery better than me, of course. Ciao, Carla.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you very much to be here, and I want to say hi to the people from Dallas. And yeah, as Sara says, we in Terre di Serra Petrona decided to produce still wines from Vernaccia Nera, which is our native black grapes. And the company was founded at the end of 90s, early 20s, with this aim. So try to evaluate a grape that is very difficult to grow, and just farmers grow it because it's perfect for that kind of climate, and only some little spots, because we've got, of course, hills, and so very deep fields, and we need to plant it only in some little areas where there is no woods or olive tree. And Robbione, that you are going to taste today, is our top wine, and it represents the company. We decided to give the time that Vernaccia Nera needs, because we harvest it in the middle of October, so they are working these days in the winery. And then with the first harvest, we take the grape and the best ones, and we go in the appassimento. So we dry a part of the grape, in this case 50-60% according to the vintage, and then with the second harvest we produce the base wine. Then we mix the two masses, and we let's say this one and mature first in still, and then 3 years in big barrels, and a little part, like 10-20 of percentage in the in barriques, different barriques from French, but different areas, to have a nice blend. Of course, it can stay a lot of time. You are going to taste 2016, and it's now on the market. So it's something that you can drink now or leave and enjoy it later. Thank you.
No, acceso. Well, it's really interesting to taste this version of Vernaccia Nera. The fact is that Vernaccia Nera, the DNA of Vernaccia Nera is strictly connected to the Cannonau DNA. So it's strange that we used to use it just for sweet sparkling wine. This is a beautiful idea of what Vernaccia can represent. And The nose, it's at the same time balsamic and spicy. Those are the two first things that we meet inside the glass. And Vernaccia always have this wild sensation that I really like. Then this red fruit, this ripe red fruit, a plum first, a cherry, then a hint of chocolate and some coffee, some toasted coffee. This balsamic sensation comes back, bringing us some flowers too, some red roses. A deep nose, a bold nose. Have a sip. Strong, full, and hot. The alcohol moves around our mouth, giving us this warm sensation. The first part of the sip talk about the fruity part, this red fruit that comes back in the mouth. But then the tannins arrive, and the tannins here are strong but well designed, I can say. And the last part of the sip, this hint of saltiness close the sip during this end that talk about flowers and oaky sensation, fumé sensation. Pairing this wine should be difficult because it's a strong wine. It needs some strong plate, of course. A stuffed turkey should be a good idea because it's a plate with a lot of different flavors. Or why not, we can work with a risotto but with some mushrooms to use the aromatic part of the mushrooms matched with this explosion of savor that this wine brings to us. Thank you, Carla, to share with us this interesting version of Vernaccia Nera, this new version, I can say, of Vernaccia Nera. And we move to the last wine of the day, and we need to come back on the north to discover this territory because we are coming back in Piedmont. We met the Barbera, the mother of the vineyard in Piedmont, but now we have to meet another grape, the Nebbiolo grape, because we are in the Barbaresco area. Come no? Ma anche subito, se vuole, prima che iniziamo, torno indietro. Surprise! We have the Govone on the way. Here we are. Do we have it? Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice
Ciao.
to meet you. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Can you hear?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Okay. So, good evening and good morning to our friends. So I am happy to stay here. So I just want to explain something about our winery. I am Maria Di Paolo. I am the chief of the export department of Produttori di Govone. So now you have tasted our Barbera d'Alba Superiore Borbonica that got the gold medal in Mundus Vini this year. And I just wanted to say something about the winery. We are a cooperative winery, was founded in 1957. So we started with 4 members, and the first harvest was in 1961. And now we have more than 100 members. The headquarters is in Gobone, so near Alba, as you said. And we bought in 2007 other 2 wineries in Porta Comaro area and in Monte Grosso area. So at this moment, we have the headquarters in Govone and other 2 wineries in Monferrato and Asti area. Because of this, we can offer a big portfolio of Piedmont wine, such as Langhe and Roero wines, and Asti and Monferrato wines. We are located in Govone, in province of Cuneo, and the territory has been recognized as World Heritage Site by UNESCO. We produce more than 2 million bottles per year. We have, as they said before, 400 hectares that are located in Langhe, Roero, Asti and Monferrato areas. We are exporting in many parts of the world, in Sweden, Denmark, and China, South America, UK, Germany, Europe in general. And we can customize the label. We are also a big production in bag-in-box also, because we are present in retail market. So we are in Govone. I wait you to visit our winery, and you can see in our website we can propose also, winery tour, e-bike tour, vineyard tour, a winery tour and tasting and accommodation in our winery. So welcome here in Govone. Thank you very much. I hope you appreciate my wines.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, we come back to our last wine. I ran too much. Okay. So from Govone, Monferrato to Langhe, Barbaresco. I think Barbaresco is one of the most famous Italian wine in the world. Nebbiolo is the grape used to produce this wine, and Barbaresco is a kind of brother of Barolo. They are very near, but pretty different one another. Barbaresco is on the beautiful hilly area of the Langhe, and the winery that we are going to meet is Giuseppe Cortese, and here it's an ancient history that starts from one vineyard, one of the most important cru of Barbaresco that we have, that is Rabaia. When you talk about Rabaia with a sommelier, we have like a tingling inside, because it's like a mythological vineyard. And Giuseppe Cortese, it's as the small part of this beautiful vineyard. Here, the soil, it's a mix it's calcareous and sandy soil, and it gives to Nebbiolo the opportunity to show the most elegant face that he can show to us. I lost a piece. Okay. And everything starts from this vineyard, 9 hectares. The vineyards, it's 70, 60 years old. We have the producer here. Oh, yeah. Hi. Nice
Hello.
to meet you.
My big pleasure. Hello to everyone. So I was just listening to your perfect explanation, because you know a lot about us, in fact. So my big pleasure to stay connected with you in the moment. In fact, just few words for talking. Sorry for it's a very dark place, but so just few words for explaining a little bit more about us, in fact.
Yes, please.
As you perfectly said, Giuseppe Cortese today represents one of the most historical label in Barbaresco. Giuseppe, that was my father-in-law, starting producing his own label of Barbaresco in 1971. And since the beginning, with two clear idea on what was for him the Barbaresco. First of all, as you perfectly said, the Rabaia, because the family is born there. And the original plot was a small plot. Step by step, Giuseppe make big investments there, and today, with 4 hectares on the total of 15, we are the biggest producer in Rabaia. And at the same time, very important things for us, it was to make the wine, since the beginning, very classical and straight down on the terroir, you know. So meaning that our Barbaresco is famous today, because we are one of the few labels in Barbaresco that we never moved to making a wine, especially the Nebbiolo, very, very classical and traditional. So for us, since the beginning, Barbaresco means a light, brilliant color, a lot of elegance on small red berries, and energy in terms of tannin and in terms of freshness. So we never made something, let me say, more easy to understand. That's why till 15, 20 years ago, not a lot of people were well known about us, even if our history, it's since the mid of 80s, for example, exporting to US. Today, as the style worldwide is coming a little bit more back on a traditional approach, we become a little bit more high attention from almost everyone. And it is, it's something of which we are really proud, because as I say, we never moved in this direction. It's, for us, it's very, very important. About the wine that you are trying now, in fact, it is our younger brother of the Barbaresco, Rabaia, in fact, because we have the vineyard of Nebbiolo, mostly in the main Rabaia, but apart even in the hill just in face, the name is Trifolera. Classico Barbaresco, the one that you are trying now, it's a blend of a little bit of Rabaia, a little bit of Trifolera. 18 months in large cask after a first spontaneous fermentation, and I think a Barbaresco really on focus on this perfect mix with freshness, tannin, and fruit.
Thank you very much. I think you have to be brave to work with a grape like Nebbiolo, like you do, because, you know, Nebbiolo needs to be cuddled a lot, and you choose the longest way to do it, so the big barrels and the spontaneous fermentation. But I think that it gives the real taste of Nebbiolo work in a way like this. And we see perfectly the color of Nebbiolo. This transparency is what we expect from a grape like this, that have a lot of tannins but not so much color, and this really beautiful and shining inside the glass. And I think, I don't know how to describe a wine like this, but I can say that it's wine that smells like autumn. It's more easy to describe a nose like this, with this earthy sensation, dry leaves, mushrooms, an idea of truffle that is coming out in the glass, and the fruity part too. It's a small berry. And we can imagine the acidity of this small berry that we smell in the glass. A beautiful violet, and then this idea of wax, and a beautiful smoky sensation that closes this complex and deep nose. Have a sip. That's how Nebbiolo act. Tannins, acidity and tannins. Those are the two marks that really represent a grape like this. Work with Nebbiolo is really complicated, because you have to find an emotional connection with a grape like this. See how freshness is the wine. I'm talking and I'm producing a lot of saliva, and this red orange juice inside the mouth. The end is very long, and in the end the wines bring us back everything, all the perfumes that we perceive on the nose, the spicy part, the earthy part, this wax part, this fume part. It's not easy to pair a wine like this, of course. You need to start to think about pairing the day after, because you need to cook something special with a wine like this. One of the typical pairing with Nebbiolo, with Barbaresco or Barolo too, is the stew, because we need some juiciness in the plate to control this beautiful acidity and those tannins. But I want to say something. Nebbiolo has a lot of tannins, but in this case you perceive just a part of it, because we are in front of a well done Nebbiolo, I can say. Or you can pair a wine like this with truffle, why not? So with a local pairing and with strong red meat, you will enjoy a lot for a dinner. The producer just disappeared. If you wanna say something to close.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, you are here. If you wanna add something about it.
I don't think it's necessary because you had the class. You perfectly say what in fact it's. We want to hear about the Barbaresco. Meaning I will simply had the idea that in fact people have always to remind that what you are describing perfectly now. It's even something with a crazy long potential of aging. And as a good Barbaresco, a good longevity wine, it can even show something more with just a few years longer of wait, because, Barbaresco, it's a wine. I always say Barbaresco, it's a runner. It needs time for reaching the final goal. This kind of Barbaresco can be enjoyable since the beginning, but waiting a little bit longer with tannin becoming more velvety, the acidity go a little bit more down, the wine become more smooth, and even it become more interesting and more enjoyable with more opportunity of food pairing. So it become even better.
Thank you very much to share this testing with us. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you again. And have a nice
the testing with us.
Of the testing.
Thank you very much, and
thank you again.
Hi to Dallas, and I want to thank all the guys that works all the day long here for every testing. They do just perfectly, so thank you very much, and have a good night. If there are some questions, I'm here, or see you another time with other wines. Thank you.